You guys are too smart to just be gym bros. Well, thank you. So what's your reason? Guys, fantastic video. James, hope you don't mind. What is your motivation? So you kind of talked about this already, but what is your motivation for starting TRT? You're young, although you look old. They didn't say that. You're young, probably had normal testosterone levels. Did you mainly aim for higher mental and physical energy, or do you expect longevity benefits? There are downsides, so taking such a step early in life requires higher conviction. Although they didn't say this either, arguably slightly less conviction if you have like a comfortable knowledge base about it. You guys are too smart to just be gym bros. Well, thank you. So what's your reason?
Yeah, so here is entitled this James's TRT story. So like I talked about, I was working night shift and had checked some blood levels, and they were low, and 230, 250 nanogram per deciliter, somewhere in that range. And what I did, and by the way, I don't recommend this, but in the concept of transparency, I did testosterone as a test drive prior to getting a prescription for it to say, is this going to work, have the benefits that I'm looking for? Not the smartest thing to do, but when you are not blessed with a lot of resources at the time and you're trying to make things work and figure out, is this going to be a good investment? That was a choice that I chose to make. But then, after I realized, hey, I am getting some benefits in terms of exercise recovery, there was certainly a component of that, but also just energy levels in general and motivation. I can't say that there was any difference in cognitive or mental function, although some people do report that. It's not something that I would say more than a quarter of people are specifically saying, hey, this got better after TRT. Certainly wasn't my case. So that's sort of my motivation behind it. So it's not 100% gym bro, not 100% for like mental performance, sort of looking at all of the potential benefits of it, and then having an understanding about kind of how testosterone worked. Going back all the way to high school, I'd had levels checked at some point. I'd been reading about stuff since then, was in the medical field. So made it a little bit lower risk because I realized, hey, this isn't permanent. People don't, just because you go on some testosterone doesn't mean you're on it forever. And certainly I have considered now that I have a little bit more of an optimized lifestyle and sleep patterns, what would my natural levels be? But I also have the knowledge of my sensitivity to androgens with my CAG repeat length of 28. That actually puts me closer to Kennedy's disease than it does to the average repeat length for a Caucasian male. So being more on the androgen insensitive side, I don't see myself probably coming off of testosterone and even having a fall of my levels into like a low normal range. Again, I don't have proof that that would be harmful for me in the long term, but I like the idea of being able to recover from exercise, keep my lean body mass, improve my bone density, and then maintain a good degree of androgen signaling, also in the context of the other goal of keeping my hair. Yeah. So I suppose that's a bit of a background there.
It's a good example of individualized medicine where the patient's goals is one of the things to keep in account. It's not a cookie cutter thing where everybody under the ages of 30 gets a SERM and everybody over the ages of 30 gets whatever testosterone regimen you happen to make the most money or get the most lunches for prescribing. So it's a good anecdote. Next question. Great podcast. Curious regarding both of our regimens. Have our dutasteride or finasteride protocols involved topical applications? Do we take tablets? Any concerns for finasteride syndrome?
So historically, I have used topical dutasteride. It was sort of a blend of dutasteride and minoxidil and some tretinoin. I didn't find it to be particularly effective. I do have a little bit more aggressive androgenic alopecia. My serum DHT level was 69 when I was taking that. So it was within the normal realm of conversion between at 5 and 10%. So in my case, I don't believe it was going systemic, but in some people we do see evidence of that. And now my regimen is entirely oral in terms of the dutasteride and the finasteride, both of which I take orally.
Yeah, and as I've mentioned, with my regimen, I have not taken topicals. Not that I'm against topicals, but it's just the convenience of taking a tablet is fantastic. And on paper, I'm kind of a great candidate for dutasteride and finasteride. Very low estrogen, high progestogen pool, high strong androgens, high DHT, low anxiousness, OCD type predispositions, naturally pretty high libido. So in fact, I was kind of hoping that in the pelvic rest period after having my second kid, that it would kind of help if I increased the dose. That's when I tried daily finasteride, daily dutasteride, and 3 times a day saw palmetto. And yeah, I really didn't see huge beneficial effects of decreasing that during that period of time. But yeah, partly just because I knew I was a great candidate on paper. So that's what I did. Yeah, currently I take dutasteride. It only comes in 0.5 mg capsules. Don't recommend the compounded. I take that orally twice a week.
Yeah, it's a great overview.